Welcome, everyone, to the All About Nothing podcast, kind of daily show. I am Barrett Gruber, host of the All About Nothing podcast with Zach King. You can find me across all social media at Barrett Gruber. With me is the host of the podcast Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jamil Brooks. It's Bill Kimler. You can follow him across all social media at Political Bill SC. If you want to participate in the show, you can chat with us on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. You can find links at the top of our webpage, theallaboutnothing.com. Please follow and subscribe wherever you're hearing us. Let's get started. Bill is doing super fantastic because they released an absolutely terrific episode with Brandon Brown today. That was really good getting to meet him and know him.
He's a neat guy.
Yeah.
Didn't know anything about him prior to the episode, and then we spent a good hour with him, and neat dude. I liked him.
Yeah, I agree. I noticed at the end that you and Jamil discussed your endorsements. It sounds like you two might differ when when you decide which candidates you are going to.
We talked about it over lunch, and I don't know if it's going to be the next episode, but one episode soon, we will tell you what transpired over that lunch.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good.
But our coveted endorsement is up in the air.
I think, okay. So in 2022, we endorsed every candidate that came on the show because we only had candidates that were running in the actual general election.
Yeah. By the time you had Lisa Ellis on, she was out of the primary and on to the general. So you didn't have any primary candidates is what you're saying.
That's right.
But did you endorse the Henry McMaster poet guy? Did you endorse him?
I don't think we did. You laugh. That is still our absolutely most popular episode on YouTube. Like the most popular episode on YouTube.
Yeah.
Don't know why. I don't know if
I look at the 83 episode history we have, and the number one episode was a random interview, like part one of our interview with Sevi Alvarez, who was running for state senate against Josh Kimbrell, I believe.
Really?
Back in the day. Yeah. And it was a two-parter. He was a great interview. It was a fun episode, but that part one is getting downloaded to this day, 2 years later. And it is number one in downloads by like a factor of 10 over everything else. I have no idea what's in that episode that has caused it to get so many downloads even to this day. I've listened to it again. I go, okay, it was fine, but I don't know if some celebrity shared it that I never saw. If it hit I just don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It's entirely possible.
When you get a chance, you have to hop over to the YouTube version of this episode and see what the results are with the new equipment, the new cameras. Okay. Kind of a more polished look and feel on the video feed. I'm pretty proud of it. It was fun to do.
I will do that.
Of course, I'll tell you the raw files went from taking around 12 gig an episode to around 30 gig an episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got some massive disk space issues I got to start to figure out.
Yeah. I have multiple terabyte hard drives that I have one for when we were doing What the Pod, but I have one for What the Pod. I have one for All About Nothing. I have one for Preach's show. I have one for Politically Speaking. And then I have online storage space for Ami's Welcome to Wonderland, which she and I discussed this past weekend. That is going to be coming back
good
in March. So there will be new episodes.
Now she has to catch up for the months that she missed. Those are the rules.
You have her number. You tell her. It's not going to be me.
I've got this OCD about me that, I manage a whole bunch of social media accounts, and every one of them has to have a post a day. And it's just like this mental thing. Some days I get to it. Some days I don't. Some days, some weeks are bad weeks where I'm just not at my computer all day, or I fall 3 days behind. I will catch up. I keep track of how far behind I am and will continue to plow through it until I finally reach caught up. There's just a mental defect in me that can't let that go.
No, I get that. That's when I get up in the mornings, if I haven't scheduled stream, the shorts and whatnot for the day, then that's literally the first thing I'm doing as my coffee is brewing. I'm standing in the kitchen, literally pulling down shorts and posting them or scheduling them. And I want to say, like, on a Wednesday, because we promote your podcast, we promote Tamara and Heather's The Awakening podcast, because they have new episodes that come out every Wednesday. We promote those. Then I do at least 3 shorts, maybe 1 or 2 from this, and then one or 2 from the regular release episode. Today's regular release episode short was Zach actually painting my beard.
Oh, I look forward to it. The one where I was busting your chops over wearing the Lion King shirt, that cracked me up. I'd forgotten about that. That gave me some good chuckles. I needed that. Lift me up. We had a rough day at work.
Oh, really?
30% of my team was let go yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
So I manage a team of 90 engineers around the globe, and we lost over 20 of them in a single day. And it was rough. It was rough.
That is something that I don't think enough people are acknowledging is how the jobs market is really taking a massive hit under Donald Trump's second term. Some of it has to do with tariffs. Some of it has to do with the fact that there are a lot of
I think that was the correct word. Terrorists. Yeah. I think you have invented something, because they are wrecking this country. They're destroying this country. They are terrorists.
Clip that. Tariffs. But there are a lot of companies that are not looking to do business with US based companies right now. And that is creating a gap in the job market when it comes to the business that we used to be doing. My company has also seen, we haven't had any rifts, but we have had reductions in scope from clients, not necessarily because they are looking to reduce what we're doing, but because they are taking a hit internationally, and it's having an impact. And I actually, it's devastating to lose so many people. In the early 2000s, I think I was riffed at Blue Cross twice. I was riffed from the next job I had.
When did it become riffed and not fired? We used to be fired or let go.
Well,
now we're riffed.
Yeah, reduction in force.
Well, I know what riff means, man. I didn't need that explanation.
I know, but for those that are listening that might not.
Oh, I forget. There may be listeners to our show?
Just us.
Oh, yeah. I just thought we were lonely and talking to each other a couple times a week.
I see 3 of them over here. I see 4 of them over here. I see 6 of them over here. So we're
rude. Who are these freaking peeping toms?
Creepy, Bill man. And I just get together to talk. But in each one of those riffs, I wasn't being fired because they gave me the opportunity to find something else inside the company, and ultimately a lot of us that were under that reduction were given priority. The company that I'm with now, the scope reduced on the project I was on, and I got moved off of that project. One, because the project was coming to a close anyhow, and I'm very expensive to keep on a project. But as well, a lot of other people in the US did, because the work for our company overseas is much less costly to the budget, and it allows for the budget to have a higher revenue, or the project to. I actually yesterday really started the process of moving over from the department that I'm in, under the cost center that I'm in, to a new cost center that was looking for some of the expertise and experience that I have in SQL and Clarity and things like that. So I'm being moved to a different department that apparently hasn't had a reduction in force at all, ever, in the history of our company, which is 25 years or so. But so I'm benefiting from the fact that I am no longer on that other project, which I am so grateful for.
Well, I'm watching the Republican social media feeds, and they're running around in circles cheering the jobs report from January. where they quote unquote gained 144,000 jobs.
Sure.
Whereas this month last year, it was over 250 under, Biden's last month. But
Right.
they ignore that. And then they ignore the fact that in all of 2025, they revised the numbers down to where there was absolutely zero net jobs for the year.
Yeah.
For Trump's first year, zero. And there's just nobody believing the jobs numbers from January. No. And I'm seeing people just applying to hundreds of jobs, getting no responses. The unemployment rate, nobody's believing that number. This is an administration that has no qualms about lying directly to their faces. And so all we can know is what we know in the streets, and you can't erase that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like I have friends that are conservative and MAGA and Republican, whatever, that they will talk about in their social media posts how great the economy is doing. Why can't Democrats just get on board? Why can't liberals find, liberals need to just, they're always looking for excuse to not like Donald Trump. And every single time they post something like that, there will be a follow-up post of my church is trying to help out however many number of families that aren't going to be able to pay for groceries this year because the husband's lost his job.
Or those same people are posting GoFundMes the very next day to help with healthcare costs.
You all mentioned it in your episode. The fact that GoFundMe is now almost considered an essential part of the healthcare system.
Oh, not just healthcare. I read where the CEO of GoFundMe says that he's been noticing a disturbing trend where people are now creating GoFundMes for groceries, for rent, for the basics. I mean, not that healthcare isn't a basic, but that's typically where you would see people raise a GoFundMe to help with medical bills. But now it's with groceries and gas and mortgages and rent. It's a sad, sad time, and it's all coming crashing down.
I would be curious to know the number of people that are using GoFundMe to potentially help them just with living assistance that are also solidly against the idea of socialism, because I hate to, burst their bubble, but literally GoFundMe is a socialist social media.
Have you ever created a GoFundMe before? And not just say for yourself, but even for somebody else. I mean,
no, I've never done one that was with the intent of actually helping someone. I think I've told you the story before, but we received 1/10 of a Bitcoin from a listener. He sent me he gave me the instructions on how to create.
Was that before or after the recent crash?
That was way before the recent crash. This was back when Bitcoin was around 24,000.
All right.
And so I was able to log in. I confirmed that we received the 0.1 of a Bitcoin, and went through the process of trying to get that out. And the first thing that it popped up with, it says, if you want to withdraw your Bitcoin, you have to create a premium account, which means you have to pay for a premium account. I think it was like $200. I didn't have $200 to throw at a Bitcoin. So I was like, I'll create a GoFundMe to see if we can get people to raise the $200 necessary to try and to grab this Bitcoin out. Didn't raise, I didn't promote it. I just tossed it out there. So there is still 1/10 of a Bitcoin sitting out there that's worth what, $5,000 potentially now? It was worth like 10 because.
So at this point, even if it's worth 5, you wouldn't plunk down $200 now to get your $5,000.
It's an offshore exchange. I'm uncomfortable with the idea. It feels like a gamble. Like what other fees are there attached to this before we can actually?
So if I fronted you the $200, would you split the 5,000 50-50 with me? If I assumed all the risk, would you split the earnings 50-50?
Yeah, sure. Here's the issue though. There is also an insurance payment that has to come with it because it's an offshore exchange, and the United States will not allow for cash out of offshore exchange Bitcoins because of the potential that it's money laundering or whatever.
All I'm hearing are excuses, man.
Oh, I get that. I know.
I'm just hearing excuses out of you. I'm hearing about why, I can't, and instead of why nots. I hear yeah buts coming out of you. Your Jewish name is yeah buts.
I am cautious about the idea of
you've had this for 10 years. How long are you going to be cautious?
Yeah, it has been a while.
Your high school janitor is like cashing out Bitcoin and you're not.
Potentially. That's odd. It's funny you bring that up. I actually saw a post recently in one of my high school alumni whatevers that the janitor, and I don't remember his name, I just remember he had a long beard, but he apparently passed away recently at the age of 96.
Wow.
And then I had to do the math. That means he was in his 60s when he was the janitor, when I was in school. And then I got a little depressed because it's hard to imagine that was that long ago. And
speaking of depressed and passing away,
I had to do the math. My 30th high school reunion is coming up. So we're still a couple years away. Anyway, were you going to talk
I had my 30th college reunion. I'm way ahead of you.
Old bastard.
I know.
Non-Wu-Tang member. Sorry. Jesse Jackson's passing.
Here's what I'm asking. On Monday, you were weeping tears over Bobby Duvall.
Sure.
And I'm wondering, are you going to, here in Black History Month, shed tears for one of the greatest civil rights activists of South Carolina? Are you going to sit there and get weepy thinking about what we've lost as a society with him gone?
Well, similar to how...
Or are you going to be racist and not? I mean, there's your choice.
Wow, those are the only two I have? God.
Either you cry for Jesse or you don't. Or maybe you only cry for white people. Maybe that's how you operate while you're wearing your Lion King shirt.
No, I think that it is a devastating loss. I know that Reverend Jackson was definitely up there in age. But you're absolutely right. What an outstanding public life that he lived in bringing civil rights to the forefront. I mean, to work with Reverend Martin Luther King and John Lewis and Andrew Jackson, and not Andrew Jackson.
He's that old.
The former mayor of Atlanta.
I don't know. But I know just even here in South Carolina, he was part of a core group of civil rights activists, including like Cleveland Sellers. That's Bacardi Sellers' father. He was a compatriot.
Yeah. The number of somebody said the number of miles that Jesse Jackson walked in his life in either in protest or in support of civil rights. Somebody said that it was somewhere in the 4,000 to 5,000 mile range.
Well, how do they know? Was he wearing a Fitbit?
I don't know. I think that there was some sort of database that kept track of the number of miles that were walked for.
Yeah.
But he would walk in parades and protest, sometimes 7 days a week.
No, I saw Jesse Jackson in person. I can't say that I ever shook his hand, but there was a fundraising dinner in Columbia 3-4 years ago, and Jesse Jackson was the keynote speaker. Now, Jesse wasn't doing well at the time then.
Yeah.
And he did speak from his wheelchair. It was hard to hear because, he was in severe Parkinson's, I think, at the point. But he made it. I mean, he pushed through it. And even in that state, he showed up in Columbia, and it was impressive to see a living legend, that this is a guy that I would have only have known from the history books. And he's going to be in the history books.
Oh, for sure. Well,
now what I didn't know, I was reading a little bit about, his bio in the news today, and I knew he had run for president. I didn't know he had run twice. Like I knew he ran once in the early 80s. But I also didn't realize he ran again after that, in the one that Michael Dukakis ended up being the nominee.
Yeah.
He ended up in second place in that primary. And I didn't realize he had come that close to breaking through that barrier in the late 80s. Like that was 88.
I knew that I remember that he had run in 88. I remember that Dukakis was the nominee that came out of that. I knew that he had run twice. I didn't realize it must have been the 84 election. That
like 84 is what I remembered, but I didn't remember him running again in 88, and he did better in 88.
Yeah.
In fact, I think he had tripled the number of white voters that voted for him that second time around. And I remember that election as being one of the dullest elections ever. Dukakis versus Bush Sr. Just terribly, terribly dull. And I think Jackson, had he gotten the nominee, I think he could have been the president. I mean, he could have run away with it. I mean, you compare and contrast personalities of Bush versus Jesse Jackson. It would have been a slam dunk, but
was 88 was did Buchanan run in? No, Buchanan ran in 92 with Ross Perot, and Ross Perot ran. 88 was about the time I was only 9 years old, but that was when I became sort of politically cognizant, because my parents were pretty heavily politically motivated. But that was the one I remember. And then the first election I ever got to vote in was 2000, because I was 8. I turned 18 in 70 or 90, 97, 97. So it was the 96 election had already happened. Absolutely. I'll say the same I said for Robert Duvall. I hope that wherever Jesse Jackson is that it's peaceful, and it's where he is deserving to be with all the good that he tried to bring about. So
now, in interviewing U.S. Senate candidate Brandon P. Brown, he had done a fundraiser here and co-campaigned with Jesse Jackson Jr., who was running for Congress out in Illinois.
Yeah.
And I didn't know Jesse Jackson Jr.'s history. So as I'm reading and doing the research, I didn't know that Jesse Jackson Jr. had spent time in prison, that he was a congressperson, was charged and convicted of misuse of campaign funds, did time along with his wife.
Wow.
And they didn't do it concurrently. The judge allowed him to serve a few years or how long he served, and then she got to serve after him so that there'd be a parent at the house. And now he's trying a comeback. Now he's trying a comeback and running for Congress again.
At some point in the history of the United States, there has been accountability and repercussions to breaking laws by political figures.
Well, only to Democrats.
Oh, only to Democrats. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
So that's when I had asked Brandon Brown about, was it intentional to be campaigning publicly with somebody who had a history? Now, I didn't know that history.
Yeah.
Jamil knew it. Jamil's like, oh, of course. Yeah, everybody knew. I'm guessing maybe every black voter knew, because you're following Jesse Jackson's family a little more closely. But I had no idea. I didn't even know there was a Jesse Jackson Jr. until just recently, to be honest.
I know George Foreman's got some juniors.
Yeah, he does. But Brandon, I thought, gave a great answer to that. He talked about we're supposed to be the party of second chances, and fine. And it was a conscious choice, and they'll live with it. I thought that was interesting, though.
Yeah, it was a really good interview, and if you haven't listened to it yet, you absolutely should check the show notes.
No, I did listen to it. I was there, and then I edited the show afterwards.
To it. I'm guessing you listened to it, hours and hours of it. But it was a fantastic episode. People need to go listen to that. I was gonna bring this up, and then I was gonna bring this up, and then I saw breaking news that apparently we have sent 30 plus F-35s and other jet fighters to the region around Iran. This, of course, on the heels or preempting our episode that comes out this Monday with Zalal Habibi, who is part of the resistance in
preempted.
Well, yeah, because the episode comes out on Monday. Trump sent war jets to Iran.
Oh, I thought preempted mean you're not doing the show because of the jets.
You know what? You're right. Prior to.
Prior. Okay.
Which in the episode.
I got to know if she went into hiding or she's in a bunker now waiting for the jets to start bombing, or she had some information that we didn't know.
Luckily, a lot of the resistance is being led from outside of Iran. She's never actually, in the interview, never actually even stepped foot in Iran. She was born in Washington, D.C. Her father was killed in the 1988 political massacres. So she's never actually gotten to be in the country of her family's origin.
And is that releasing this upcoming weekend, Monday? It's the next episode? Oh,
correct. Good. Correct. So but the fact that Trump is sending war jets to Iran and potentially looking to wreak havoc in Iran is once again just another distraction away from the Epstein files. And the fact that he and the rest of the monsters that surround him, it's just, that's the part that people should be crying over, is the fact that we have a president that there is loads and loads of evidence that his own Department of Justice is attempting to hide information about what this man and others did to children, and we're gonna wind up starting a war with a country just to distract us away from it.
When do you think the next episode would be where we never mention the word Epstein? How many more episodes will it take before we don't bring it up once? I can't think of the last time we've done. I mean, every episode has had a mention of Epstein at least once somewhere.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna say, I don't know. I think we'll still be talking about Epstein even after Trump is dead.
I want to travel back in time to the 50s and just tell Edwin R. Murrow, some journalist of respect, and say, listen, I got a story for you. The year is 2026. Let me tell you what's going on.
I was going to say,
and just watch him flip his shit. You're like, are you kidding me?
You have to open it with, I'm a time traveler.
That'll be the least shocking thing that I tell him.
Probably. Yeah. No, could you imagine, someone at some point is going to be in charge of writing the history that gets published in school books after this. And I can't even imagine how difficult it's going to be to try and fit in everything between 2017 and 2020, and then 2025 and 2029. It is going to be absolutely 100 years from now, maybe not even 100 years from now, it's going to be absolutely recognized as one of the darkest times in our country's history and the world. Well,
speaking of darkest times, how are things with you in Lexington? I mean, I saw the news that the Lexington annual Peach Festival has been canceled.
I saw that too.
I want to make sure you were okay, because that's a big deal.
You want to know a secret? I think I've been to it in my 25 years here. I think I've been to it twice. And the only reason I went the first time was because I got dragged to it, because it's the 4th of July and it's 105 degrees out.
Yeah, I'm not peaches.
I'm not a big parade fan, but they do have peaches. But the peach ice cream, and I can't remember who served the peach ice cream, but that was always really good. You can usually come home with a pizza pie, a pizza pie. My mother just sent me a text message, and she said that she actually met Jesse Jackson a couple of times. Andrew Young was the mayor of Atlanta. John Lewis, she met Maynard Jackson also, but she never got to meet King, Reverend King. So.
Yeah, well, she hasn't met me yet, so her life is still very incomplete, I have to say.
I can guarantee you I am going to get a text message about that too.
Okay.
You are actually halfway between us. You could just go to Winder, Georgia and go visit her.
Oh, I thought you were talking about in terms of age. You're talking about physical location.
No, you could be one of her sons. I promise. Her birthday, actually, I'll give an early happy birthday to my mother. I won't say how old she is. I'll just say that the Torah was still called the Torah. I'm just kidding, Mom. That isn't true. Sorry. I'm going to suffer from that one. We were really running out of time, but I wanted to bring up the UN has appointed an independent panel that has announced that based on the documents released by the Department of Justice, they likely reach a threshold of crimes necessary to deem it crimes against humanity in relation to the Epstein files. That essentially what Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump and everyone else that is alleged to have done these horrible things, the UN is now recognizing it as crimes against humanity. And I get that a lot of people that support Donald Trump or that aren't going to that are going to their argument is going to be, well, who the fuck is the UN? Well, the UN is an organization comprised of 130 something nations or more, and they kind of set the tone for what's right and wrong. I'm not saying they do it great, but they have a pretty good history of trying to find.
If they get too close, or they get a little too close to Trump, Trump's shutting the UN down.
Yeah,
I mean, it's in New York City. He's just going to claim it as, you're no longer welcome in the United States and shut her down.
Yeah. That would not surprise me in the least. The international community is taking action to the information that's coming out in these files, and the fact that investigation was run here in the United States, and our country, our leadership, our government is just flat out ignoring it.
Yeah,
that they would rather hide behind a war in Iran or the kidnapping of a president of Venezuela or saying that we're going to attack Cuba. It's just incredibly disturbing.
How about that I don't know if they call it the Board of Peace or whatever that thing is that Trump created, that he's made himself the chairman of,
right?
Made up of all the worst countries in the world. It's literally like the Legion of Doom. Yeah. From the comic series. He's created his own Legion of Doom.
And what does membership cost? Was it $5 million? Like
$1 billion. It was like $1 billion.
$1 billion. Yeah. So you
put $1 billion in the pot to even join.
Yeah. You can be a founding member, and that $1 billion literally goes to Donald Trump. It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine a universe where if Obama or Biden or Clinton or even Bush had done anything like this, that the people that support Trump would support them in those efforts. It's just insane. Absolutely insane. I wanted to talk about voting, but I think we'll wait until Monday's episode, because I am getting into arguments on the internet about illegals voting in federal elections, as well as dead people voting in elections. And I have statistics. So statistics based on investigations in states across the country that do not support their argument for why we need to have.
No, what happens is they find one example of a vote that was cast by a person who's dead, and don't realize that when they do the investigation, they find that this is a person who voted by mail and then passed away because they were 107 years old.
Exactly.
And everything was legit.
So,
and from that on, now they have entire cemeteries voting is how that gets expanded.
So the state that they bring up all the time when they talk about dead people voting is Michigan. And in the 2024 election, there were 3 cases where a vote was cast and the date of death was after the election votes were counted. All 3 of those people.
You mean before?
The votes were cast before the election. The person died before the actual votes were counted.
Right.
So the election occurred. They died. The election occurred, but they had already cast their votes. All 3 of those individuals are believed to have voted for Trump because they were well up in their age, and every one of them that was interviewed by this TV outlet or this news outlet in Michigan, all three of them, everyone said, pretty sure he voted for Trump. Pretty sure she voted for Trump. Pretty sure they voted for Trump. You know, the arguments that are made in order to change the election laws around this country that are going to drastically impact women specifically, it is voter suppression. And I'm dumbfounded how they can just be so cognitively disconnected from what reality is. So.
Well, I also wanted to talk about the sequel movie that was released. Brokeback Mountain 2 was released yesterday. Have you seen it?
Well, no. I saw Brokeback Mountain.
Right, but Brokeback Mountain 2 features RFK Jr. and Kid Rock.
Okay,
I don't know if you've seen. You have seen it then, yeah. Incredibly, it didn't quite have the emotional tinge of the first film, but still very homoerotic.
Yeah,
and so yeah. Well, but we can talk about that next time because it's almost midnight now.
I want to. Yeah,
we got to wrap up.
I got to make sure I put that in the notes because I do want to discuss that. I want to know how long Kid Rock actually has the ability to work out from, because he looks very unhealthy to me. Maybe not physical stature, but he looks like he's dying. Robert F. Kennedy sounds like he's dying. So you combine
Robert F. Kennedy looks like he's been drinking children's blood. To have a physique like that in your 70s, you have made a deal with the devil and you're drinking the blood of newborns. That's the only explanation at this point.
I don't remember where the video came from or when it was recorded, but the video talking about, I have managed to not get sick from bugs. I'm paraphrasing, which is crazy because I have done coke off of a toilet seat.
Yeah, we played that clip in our last episode. We talked about that at the end. Yeah,
that was where
again, you want to watch it? Go to our YouTube channel. You can watch it for yourself. It's crazy.
Well, there's your assignment, America and world. Go check out the Black, White, and Blue in the South podcast that released today. It was fantastic. Brandon P. Brown is absolutely a fantastic guest, and I think he's going to give the other candidates running for Senate here in South Carolina a run for their money, for sure. He speaks exactly, everything he says is exactly what I want to hear. So I'm not going to endorse him though, because we all know what happens. I get one out of every 20 endorsements right. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Bill, I hope you have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too, buddy.
I imagine we'll talk at some point. Big thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, you can follow Bill at Political Bill SC. You can follow me at Barrett Gruber. Thanks for liking and hitting that bell. And if you can, give us a 5-star review and leave a comment. Until next time, you all stay safe, be kind,